Okay, today we're going to do section 5-3, and this is going to be multi-step inequalities. Find a different marker. I'm starting to go bad. Multi-step inequalities. And we will be working off of page 298. And let's just go ahead and get started in a real-world example. Number one, real world. And what it says here is, write and solve an inequality to find the sales Mr. Jones needs if she earns a salary of $2,000 plus a 10% commission. Now, 10% as a decimal is 0.10. On her sales. We don't know what her sales is, okay? And her goal is to make at least, remember at least, is greater than or equal to. Her goal is to make at least $4,000 per month. So what comes after the keyword, at least, is 4,000. So that's the way I would set that up, okay? Now to solve this, subtract 2,000 from each side. And being that it's a word problem, you can use a calculator. So I get 0.10x is greater than or equal to 4,000 minus 2,000 is 2. Divide that by 0.10. 0.10. Powers of 10 say that. So x is greater than or equal to 200. And let's just double check that. I apologize, that is not right. Shows how much I was paying attention. So 2,000 divided by 0.10. So let's take my calculator out. 2,000, try to do too much in my head, divided by 0.1 is 20,000. So x is greater than or equal to 20,000. Okay? If it was 10, that would be 2,000, but this is 0.10, so I have to move there and then add 0, so it's a different concept. So use your calculator. 2,000 divided by 10% is 0.10. That means that sales must be greater than $20,000 if she's going to earn at least $4,000 per month. Okay, so that's the ruling with that. You guys tried the guided practice. Let's move on to example 2. Moving on to example 2. And in example 2, it says, write an inequality involving a negative coefficient. So we've got negative 11y minus 13. Write a negative. So negative 11y minus 13, negative 11y minus 13 is greater than 42. So we're going to solve this and graph it. So remember, when there's a negative attached to a letter, let me change this. When a negative is attached, we must change directions. Okay? It also has to be on the left. It's on the left, but there's a negative attached. So first, undo the subtraction like a two-step inequality. Say negative 11y is greater than 55, like that. But now there's a negative attached to the letter, so we have to change directions here. 55 divided by negative 11 is a negative 5. It isn't because this is a negative, it's because there's a negative attached to the letter. When a negative is attached, we must change directions, okay? And that we need to say to the variable. So in our previous lesson, we talked about this, but just keep that in mind. Now we're doing multi-step, okay? So set notation would be y slash y is less than negative 5, and then if I graph it, oops, should be a positive 5 here and a negative 5 here. Less than means an open dot, and it goes to the left, like that, okay? So let's try another one, and this is example number 3. And guys, it does help if you zoom when you're doing these, when I'm just going through these videos, and I'm not doing a whole lot of examples. Example number 3 is where we write and solve. Write and solve inequality. So this time it says to find a variable 5 minus 6 times a number. So 5 minus 6 times a number is more than 4 times the number is more than 4 times the number plus 45, I think. Again, this is example 3, but this is now on page 299. So let's look at it. 5 minus 6 times a number. 5 minus 6n. It doesn't say less than, so leave it like that. It doesn't say fewer than, so minus just means that order. Is, okay, is normally means equal to, but we're doing inequality, so more than. That's the key word. That's greater than 4 times the number, so that's 4n, they have to have the same letter, plus 45. That's how I would set that up. So what I want to do first is, either I'm going to put this in negative to make it to the left, or I'll move this over. It eventually has to go to the left, so this time I'm going to move it to the left. And this is 5 minus 10n is greater than 45. Okay. I try to avoid negatives normally, but the n needs to go to the left, so that's what I'm doing. Subtract 5 on both sides, so we get negative 10n, don't forget that negative, is greater than 40, and now divide by negative 10. So negative attached to the letter, change directions. That gives me a negative 4, okay? Come up here, n slash n is less than negative 4, and graph it. Open dot over the negative 4, and it goes to the left, okay? So that's what you do with that. Again, I'm going through these examples kind of fast, so it is a good idea if you zoom. And finally, we have the distributive property. I'm going to erase this. So example number 4, distributive. It's kind of a big problem. So we have 4 parentheses, 3t minus 5. Is greater than or equal to 8t plus 3. So distributive property, 4 times 3t is 12t. 4 times a negative 5 is a negative 20. Again, I'm on page 299, example 4. Is greater than or equal to 8t plus 3. Move the letter over to the left. Minus 8t, minus 8t. 12 minus 8 is 4t, minus 20 is greater than or equal to 3. Just like that. add 20 to both sides. Opposite of minus is a plus. So 12t minus 20 minus 8, 4t plus 3. Okay. And divide that by 4. T is greater than or equal to 23 over 4. That will be 5 3/4, or 5.75. So x slash x is greater than or equal to 5.75. Here's the thing. I made a mistake because it was supposed to say plus 7 up here, and I just caught it. So I'm going to do another example, and I'll post that later, to where we'll do another example where I add the 7. Okay? So keep that in mind. I need to redo this. We can keep this one. This one's correct. X slash x is greater than or equal to 5.75. But I'm going to do another one to fix this example because this doesn't match the textbook. Okay?